Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is Zaihan Rashid, Happy Strong Family, on day 5 of Ramadan. Thank you so much for coming. Today I want to talk about our neighbors. We have neighbors, all of us do. Many of us have Muslim neighbors, and many of us have Kufr, people that are not Muslim. But we all as a family have a chance to engage our neighbors. I hope, inshallah, we've already engaged them. But what we have done as a family for many years, we put up a small sign outside every Ramadan, which shares with our neighbors the happiness and the peace and the tranquility that Ramadan begins and lasts. You'll be surprised, I'm sure you won't be surprised, but I was definitely surprised by the response I got. Some years ago, when we were walking along the street where I live, and we got many of our neighbors because of it's a beautiful afternoon. There seem to be many people out in their yards and doing other things. Some were walking. And I was surprised at how many people actually knew about Ramadan and how many actually congratulated us. Ramadan had already finished. People didn't necessarily know that it had. But I realized some of this, through talking with people, was related to the fact that there was a small reminder of Ramadan. The other very encouraging thing was the small gifts that you and me share with our neighbors actually go a very long way. So I'd encourage all of us to think of small gifts, things that actually can be appreciated by people, things such as a small bottle of perfume. It doesn't have to be very expensive. It could be something that is eatable by everybody, such as a small snack, sometimes with a little description of what's in the snack. But you know what? That sharing component of Ramadan, that part where our neighbors, which we remember from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he said that a person will not be forgiven. A person, in fact, let me read the exact hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, by Allah, he has no faith whose neighbors are not safe from his wickedness. Now, inshallah, none of us are causing things to harm our neighbors. But the other part of this remembering is neighbors have a right upon us. They have a right upon sharing the things that we have in a manner that it's appropriate. Obviously, they don't have right on our property, but they do have a right to share with us the benefits of Ramadan. How are these benefits shared? Well, for a start, by informing people, by letting them know, hey, in this month, we learn to discipline ourselves. This month, we come close to God by doing the things that He has asked us to do. We try and avoid doing harmful things, such as using our tongue for anything but good, such as restraining ourselves from eating, which is commonly a source of many illnesses, such as becoming people who share our goodness with our neighbors, etc., etc. The same vein can then lead on to telling people a little bit more about some of the festivals, some of the celebrations we have. How many of our neighbors have no idea about what Eid is, for example? All of this sharing, this having a desire to have our neighbors be just as involved, if not just as involved, at least involved to some extent with Ramadan, will also allow you an opportunity, for example, in the future to invite them to an event in your local masjid, for example. It could also be the source of sharing a lot of information about Islam. These things, my brothers and sisters, happen through small gestures of sharing, through having the desire of having a community affair about all the things that we have in common. We all know that when some other festival time comes, we have lights, we have presents, we have a lot of noise, etc., all happiness. But how is it that our neighbors will learn anything about this beautiful month of Ramadan if we as a family don't share our happiness with them, if we don't allow them to have some insight into what we are all about? It really gives an opportunity for us to get to know them and them to get to know us. So let's in this Ramadan make an effort to inform our neighbors about what we do and share. You can share some small sweets with them. You can share a small perfume, as I mentioned. You can put up a small sign in front of your home. You can also make other things like a small card, for example. I know there are neighbors who have given us presents in the form of dates in Ramadan without us even knowing that they actually are aware of Ramadan. So let's, inshallah, this Ramadan change all of that and make this a really family Ramadan with our neighbors sharing as well. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.